Welcome into the live stream here from McCready and Siskey, powered by Rain Total Body Fuel. I'm Neal. That is Tyler.
What it is, sir?
Starting a little later today than usual.
It's Labor Day, dog.
My primary job normally on Mondays. Ole Miss does their media stuff at noon today, but with today being a holiday and no classes, they backed their practice up a little bit, which backed up media day by about an hour and 15, 20 minutes or so. So we're a little later getting to you, but we'll get to it here in just a moment. Hope everybody's having a great day. I haven't even opened up the stream to see who all's in there. Mondays are just fly by the seat of your pants day for me, man.
Well, see, the countdown was on 0 a minute, and I said, just a second, Neal's typing. We'll roll when we roll.
Yeah, I've got.
You don't have anything to do today. You're not busy.
Mondays are really busy. Mondays and Tuesdays. Actually, in football season, the only day that's not kind of busy is Friday.
Yeah.
That's really it. Every other day is really busy. Like Saturday's busy because it's game day. I went to the stadium around 5. I got home after midnight. Worked Sunday. Worked all day today. I'll work all day tomorrow. Wednesday. Thursdays all day. Fridays, unless I'm traveling, is off. Is it bad that, like, I've already kind of, like, got a plan in my head for the Friday before the Wake Forest game? Like, get to hotel.
Pour a drink.
Sleep some more.
Pour a drink.
Like people like, hey, what are you going to do? And I'm like, man, I don't know how to tell you this, but like, I just don't want to be around people. Like, because I know it's going to be like, hey, you want to talk about football? It's like, I'll talk about anything but football. I'll talk about how do we make a cardboard box over football?
Would you talk about snakes
Instead of football on a Friday? Yeah, probably
for
sure.
What was the most? Were you excited? Did you think about like seeing if you could get a hold of the SID Kyle at Ole Miss and see if you could do the press conference at halftime? So you can. Is it worth staying there after midnight for a 76-0 game?
It was just miserable. I mean,
you had to have your article completed at the end of the first quarter.
I had most of it written, but you're still having to wait for it to end, and you got to go to the press conference stuff. And I'm not bitching. It's just God. Those games have no purpose. They really don't. I'm sorry, but there's no redeeming value in these SEC versus FCS games.
I was miserable watching it because I had to watch it pretty close because I knew I was going on the post-game show with Chase, and so I was watching it pretty close, and I was miserable. I said, "Why am I watching this?" And I said, "My man Neal is just when I'm complaining, I know my man Neal was struggling." So,
well, I just was kind of frustrated. I was frustrated more at Furman than I was anything. It's like, why are you guys running tempo? Why are you throwing the ball?
Bro, I was serious. I told Chase on the postgame show, I was this close to getting in my truck and driving to the stadium, and not to yell to tell Ole Miss to run the ball, but to ask the Furman coach, why in the hell are you going tempo and pushing the ball down? You're down 45, boss. At that time when I was like, okay, it's time to get our guys healthy and let's just get out of there.
Yeah. No. You're not proving anything at that point.
No, it's time to get out of there. Let's crank her up.
All right, I got to open a file. Let's see. One second. All right. Welcome into episode 202 of McCready and Siskey, powered by Rain Total Body Fuel. I'm Neal McCready. That is Tyler Siskey here on this Labor Day Monday, September the 2nd. Hope you are all doing well on this show. It's brought to you each and every episode by our friends at Rain Total Body Fuel. 300 milligrams of natural caffeine, BCAAs, electrolytes, zero sugar. It's got what you need to push the limits and achieve your goals. Please check them out on Instagram at Rain Body Fuel to learn more.
Neal, I'm rocking with the Harvest Grape today. It is, man, let me tell you something. Harvest Grape, I know it's your favorite. Mm-hmm. It is growing on me to where it's slowly becoming my favorite. I don't know what it is. It's like a grape Fanta. Brings me back in the day. But shout out to our guys at Rain. Thank you so much, guys. The Cooper Chevrolet chat is already bumping. And guys, listen, go to cooperchevrolet.com. Tomorrow, Tuesday, is the final day that you can get a great offer on a brand new Chevy Tahoe. Matter of fact, one of our listeners bought a Chevy Tahoe from Cooper Chevrolet last week, but tomorrow's the last day to get this deal. They're going to be Open tomorrow. Give them a call. Area code 256-236-4481. You can get $6,000 below MSRP. You can get an extra $1,500 discount and no payments for 90 days. I'm about to say 84 months. I'd be like, hell yeah, that's a great deal. They said it. But go check out our friends at Cooper Chevrolet. Give them a call. Area code 256-236-4481. Neal, I know you know this too. Our good friend at Brandon at PTG Outdoors, he was joining the post-game show. He was fired up. He was ready to go that night. He actually gave away a free bottle of Camus on the post-game show on Saturday. But PTG Outdoors, they are a Camus boats dealer. They have both fresh and saltwater boats. They sell and service Mercury outboards. They do custom marine electronic installations with Garmin, Humminbird, and Lowrance products. You can get all of your fishing needs and custom golf cart retrofits where they replace all of the batteries with a single lithium battery. They have locations in Grenada, Mississippi, and Northport, Alabama. More importantly, go to ptgoutdoors.com. They will get you set up, anything you need there on the online store, and they will ship it to anywhere in the great United States of America. All right, Neal, I'm going to start this bad boy today. I could not help it. I know we don't like to say, you and I have this thing where we don't say we're proud of people. We're happy for them. So, but I'm also proud and happy at the same time. Big shout out to to Bob Brucato, who is been with us since episode uno from Monster. His son, Brennan, was named the starter for the Methodist Monarchs.
That's awesome.
Over the weekend. He had a great game on Thursday. Did really well in they actually have a preseason game, like a scrimmage against another team. He had a really good game. Just where I'm happy for him and I'm happy for everything. And he listens to our show, so maybe he'll catch this. Where I'm happy for it is had a bad injury, obviously in high school, came back, and he has worked.
To detail it, he had a very severe lower leg, broken leg injury with I saw the X-ray. Bob sent me the X-ray. It was rough.
It's nasty. Yeah.
It was rough.
But just how he's learned. I know he's obviously earned a starting position, but the life lesson out of that is he knows how to deal with adversity now, and he was so down after that happened, and he came back. And he's worked his ass off. He was a freshman last year behind a same guy that had been like a 47-year starter there, and then was in a pretty big competition with three other guys, and worked his ass off and is the starter. And that's awesome. So I'm so happy for Brennan. Proud. That's also a proud moment because I met him when he was a high school kid, right? So just to see him work his ass off and find success, that's fun. That's fun.
Absolutely. That's awesome.
That's awesome for him. Good. So excited for him.
Got to find out when Methodist plays. Got to get we need the people. We need the guys at Methodist to probably send us.
What are we doing?
Send us some gear.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a chance to be the official team of McCready and Siskey. Here's your shot.
There's your shot.
Just saying.
Hey, let's go. Because Methodist is the official team, the official D3 team of the McCready and Siskey podcast.
It's the official team in general.
Yeah, just the official team.
Yeah, the team.
Let's go, Monarchs. What are we doing? Let's go. All right, Neal, we're going to jump right into this bad boy because we got a ton of games to talk about, obviously, because Monday is about Tell the Truth Monday. And, Neal, first we're going to start this thing with Make It Rain Thursday results.
Yeah, because we got to have a conversation.
We got to have a conversation. It's under review.
Not only this, we got to have a conversation about something. I had multiple people. Okay, now look, I've never been to Talladega. Not my crowd. No offense.
It's going to be your crowd.
Well, I've had multiple people say, "Hey, totally seriously, the idea of that shirt and stuff is not smart." I mean, I've had people go, people are going to throw bottles at you.
No, they're not. We got security. I promise you. I promise you, Neal, I am not going to let one thing
because a bottle hits my face. To say I'm going to be pissed off is beyond. It's the understatement of all. It's like saying Furman was bad Saturday.
I don't know the nice way to say that. I don't mean to. The people who are with us, Neal, will deter anything that's going to happen with you.
Okay. I'm just telling
I've been there.
Multiple people came up to me on Saturday and said that's not smart.
I promise you.
Multiple people including people who probably would like to see me get hurt.
No, but you're not.
You're going to get.
You're not going to get hurt. I won't allow it to happen.
You're going to get effed with.
We got a long time. I got to win this competition first.
Well, you will win.
I got to win this competition first.
You've watched more football in one weekend than I will watch in the next decade.
Man, Bob's gonna be with us. We got some guys in the chat that security will be with us.
Like literally didn't know until today that South Alabama didn't cover. I had no clue. I've never been. I cover the team I cover.
Hey, look, there's security in the chat. Security's in the chat. Security's in the chat. We're good.
Explaining this to you.
I will not. Neal, look at me. I give you my word,
but people that I trust were coming up to me going, "Dude, not bright."
I give you my word.
Okay,
not one person is going to lay a hand on you or do something, or they will be dealt with in a very swift and disturbing manner.
Okay,
all right. I won't let that happen. All right, so let's start with that. So we also.
Alan's like, you will need an Iron Dome.
Y'all see, it's not true.
It's what I mean. I mean, listen, people that
it's not true.
Again, I'm being totally serious for a minute, not joking. Multiple people like that is not bright. You're going into a place full of drunk. I won't use the word, but they used the word, and they all said the same thing. You're going to get hurt. I
disagree.
I don't want to get hurt.
Yeah, those people that are saying that have probably never been there.
I'll be 55 years old.
I will not allow you to get hurt. I refuse to allow, just like I refuse to lose this competition, I refuse to allow anything.
You'll win the competition.
I refuse to allow anything bad to happen to my man Scoops. Because you're my guy. Why would I let somebody mess with you?
You will. I mean, if you don't win this competition, people should really have real questions. Because your boy has not. I'm not exactly checked into the football season.
We're gonna be good. All right, here we go. Make it rain results. All right, Neal. We also. We need to have we'll get to the game in a minute. We need to have a rules discussion on the Make It Rain Week 1 results. We'll get there when we get there. Neal, you went 2-4, lost 2 units. I went 4-2 plus 2.25 units, but we're going to have a discussion about it. I may need to change my record. I will confer with you and see how you feel you want to do about that in a minute. All right, Neal's first game. You had the Louisiana Monroe Warhawks -6.5. Started off Thursday hot, Neal. That was really, now that I think about it, I ended up going home and placing a bet on it. That was easy money. I thought people didn't know about Monroe and all that stuff. Vincent and them kind of took over the game physically, especially in the second half, and just ran it. They said they tried to run their offense. And I watched the whole game. I had to watch my guy Vincent. They started running outside zone and just pretty much physically took over the game. And then started pushing around a little bit and controlled the game in the second half. Ended up winning by 16. So that was actually an easy cover. If he wanted to, they could have made that a lot worse. Real happy for Vincent getting his first dub as a true head coach. He was an interim and won some games, but winning over Jackson State there.
I would tell you that it was an educated pick, except for the fact that it wasn't. It was just me picking my one alma mater that still claims me.
It's fair enough.
Because I gave them $20 once.
Fair enough. Neal.
But I was happy for Brian.
Yeah, Brian did.
I was happy for him.
Yeah, it was good for him.
Sure.
As you just referred to, you took South Alabama -5.5. They lose at home. Took one on the chin to North Texas, 52-38. North Texas is just really good on offense. That's one of the better offensive teams they're going to see all year long. South Alabama. North Texas has got it cooking on offense. That was one I said may go over, and it did. If there was ever a game going over last weekend, that was it.
Oh, they lost?
They lost 52-38.
That sucks.
Yeah, so that was they took one on the chin. That was a rough one there for our Jags, but that was a Quick U versus Quick U game, so I had to stay away from that one. All right, Neal, we're going to talk a minute about this one. The Alabama, which you said, great pick. We both said it on the show on Thursday. Alabama was 31.5-point favorites. You took them. You got the dub. They beat Western Kentucky 63-0.
Yep.
This was when you know that we're doing some TikTok lives and things since Saturday, and you realize we're going to have some life advice for all these fans out there at the end of the show today.
Yes.
But I had people that were complaining, there were fans complaining that, why is Jalen Milroe, why can he not throw the ball from 10 to 30 yards? Why can he not throw the intermediate ball? I'm like, guys, he threw like 4 tugs. They scored damn near on every possession. They scored 63 points. So this is a message to all the Alabama fans out there. If you're saucy about what you saw on offense, Nick Saban in 17 years, Neal, Nick Saban scored twice in 2 games, scored over 60 points in 2 games. And Kalen DeBoer did it in his first game. They scored 63 points. Like, what else do you want them to do?
Oh, they're upset about it?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I don't.
It looks different because they use more personnel groupings. They use more motion and things like that. I thought the outside zone, the way is different than what it's been at Alabama in a long time. They look really good. Milroe looked really good. Alabama's offense looked really good. Alabama was probably even a little bit better than I thought they were going to be. They're going to be a problem. And then defensively, they got dudes and they got young guys. And there was some people complaining about how they were playing this compared to how they were playing in the past. It's different, guys. Nick's not coming back. So it's going to look different. But I'm going to say this again. They didn't score any points. I had a guy on the live, Neal. I can't make this up. We had a guy on TikTok live this weekend that said, literally the comment was, you got to tell your boy Kane that defensive performance isn't going to do it around here. They scored 0 points. What the hell do you want them to do?
I don't know why. I don't know why people insist on reading so much into these games, one way or the other. I mean, these are total mismatches. They're not coached like you're not coaching the game like you're playing somebody that you could lose to because all the coach speak aside, right? Everybody inside the building in Tuscaloosa knew they were winning the game.
Yes.
There was a 0% chance.
0.0.
A 0% chance games that they were losing the game. So that does impact the way that you prepare for the game. It impacts the way that you call the game. It impacts the way that you strategize for the game. It just does. I don't know why, other than this isn't a knock.
Yeah.
At all. It's like I was watching my message board on yesterday for a little while. And LSU Southern Cal were playing.
That's what we're talking about next.
And if you're an Ole Miss fan, if you're a practical Ole Miss fan, right? And your goal is for your team to make the playoff, you wanted LSU to win the game. But because again, this is going to sound criticism, it's not at all. Because it's so emotional to people, the college game is. They're like, no, F that. Beat LSU, right? And so it's this whole thing about, if you're an Alabama fan, I don't know how you can look at that game and take anything away from it at all. Any. Not positive, not negative. It was just, I won't even dive into my hot take on week 1 of college football is if I'm Disney and ABC and ESPN, I'm like, no, this is bullshit. We're not doing this next year. So figure it out. I'm not paying for this. That would be my response. I mean, that literally someone says, what was your takeaway? That was it. I mean,
there's a way to solve that.
Well, there is, and it's play intersectional games, play Big Ten SEC games. But I had someone go, well, that $500,000 that Furman's getting, that's funding. I'm like, okay.
Is that all they got for that?
Yeah, they got $500,000.
Hey, I don't know who. Can I take a moment right now?
Sure.
Hey, whoever at Ole Miss cooked that deal up, hey, the rain is to you right there. Great investment. Usually that's about $1 million. Usually that's more expensive than that. And whoever the AD is at Furman, y'all screwed that shit up.
I think that's about all the FCSs are getting anywhere. Now
really?
Yeah.
Because of the FCS win?
Yeah. So
I know the Group of Five's getting.
But if I'm the TV people, I'm like, and I realize it's just a stream game. I don't know. Maybe it's good because they don't have to figure out where to put all the inventory. But I'm surprised those games aren't more scrutinized.
Yeah, it was
because the gap between SEC and FCS has never been bigger.
Pretty damn big, boss.
But it's never been bigger than this.
It was.
Someone's like, Idaho says hello. I'm like, okay, so 1 out of 80 says say hello. Congrats.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
All right, you just mentioned LSU. You had LSU minus 4 loss. They lose to USC 27-20. LSU fan is upset today. Here was my takeaways out of the game. One is before we even start talking about LSU, I want to give USC some credit here.
Yeah.
USC much improved. I'll tell you two things I noticed yesterday. One, Miller Moss is a good player, which I knew that last year after watching, but he's really good.
He's very good.
But
Was very clutch last night.
There's two big improvements that changed them yesterday. One is they visibly, drastically much improved on defense.
Well, they got bigger.
They got bigger,
they went into
more
the portal.
physical.
They went into the portal and they bought a bunch of big players.
And then two, shout out to Lincoln Riley. It's one of the first games first game in a long time that he's coached where he called the game to match his defensive personnel. He didn't try to go straight tempo all the time, all day long. He kind of mixed and matched it. He did a good job managing the game as a head coach on that. So you got to give USC some credit, okay? It wasn't just they're going to be better than what everybody predicted, including myself. They are going to win games in the Big Ten. All right, that was a drastically improved roster, drastically improved O-line, D-line than what they've had in the past. And so, hats off to them. All right, two is this, LSU. All right, so from the LSU standpoint, first of all, Nussmeier played his ass off. I thought
he wasn't their problem.
They're going to win games because they got the right guy at quarterback. He did a great job. Offensively, I thought the offensive line underperformed in the running game to their talent level. Okay, not in the passing game. I thought they did fine in protection, but in the running game, they wasn't getting a ton of movement, particularly when they had angles. And usually when you have angles, you can move guys. They did not do a great job with that, and that struggled. And then from a play calling standpoint, if I was critical on anything, it started really the first drive of the game. They had 4th and goal from the 2 on the first drive of the game. And as a play caller, you have to have a cover 0 plan. And when you go into that, I think they called a timeout before that too. You got to know, hey, look, there's a high probability. We got 4th and goal from 2. There's a high probability that you're going to get cover 0 here. What's our plan if they go cover 0? Well, they didn't. Either the players completely miscommunicated it or they didn't have a plan because they were not either the players weren't on the same page or what it was, but it was a wasted play. They went cover 0, had a free runner, which you're going to have, but you've got to have a plan for it, whether it be changing the route, whatever, throwing hot, whatever your deal is down there, or call a play designed to beat cover 0. They did not have a play drawn up to defeat cover 0 because you're not letting a B-gap runner run clean when you have a plan for that. And, that's kind of where it started there. And they struggled running the ball. I don't know if probably many of you noticed this. They struggled running the ball comparative to what everybody thought they were going to be able to run the ball. And so in the second half, they came out like committed, almost being stubborn, forcing the run in the second half and got behind the chains a little bit instead of just keep feeding 2, man. Lacey was a beast last night.
Yeah.
They should have just kept feeding his ass. They couldn't cover 2 last night. And so they should have just kept feeding his ass, and then I think they would have won the game. They got a little stubborn trying to establish the run in the second half. And then when they had them, they had their nuts now. They had their foot on their throat when they got the ball back with like 7 minutes, up 4 points, whatever it was. They had a chance to drive down and, run some clock, shorten the game, and they went 3 and out.
3 and out, yep.
And that hurt. And
and then they didn't get, and from that point, Moss just made play after play after play. Look, LSU was undisciplined.
All right, very undisciplined.
That's the knock on them. It's been the knock on him. It's the knock on Brian Kelly is that his teams are undisciplined, and that one was not disciplined, and it cost them.
The touchdown celebration. Now you had to back it up. He gets a 70-yard return and set up a score.
You can't pretend to shoot somebody.
Yeah, that would pretty much do it. That does it every time.
I mean, come on.
That will do it every time. It's like the throat slash or the gun thing is automatic. So there's 3 like what's the deal in baseball? Like there's 3 words that get you every time.
Yeah.
In football celebration, you can get away with a lot these days compared to what it used to be, but you can't do the throat slash, you can't do the gun signal, and you can't do the pelvic thrust. But besides that, you can get away with a lot. Those are the 3 that get you. And he hit one of them, right?
Yeah, I mean, the most egregious one is the one that he did.
Yeah.
I mean, pretending to shoot somebody. Come on, man.
That does it every time.
I mean, come on. At what point did you think this might not be the best idea in the world?
Probably not a good idea, boss.
So that really hurt them. They had a couple of those plays. And then, credit to SC. They didn't have those kind of moments. I thought they played a pretty disciplined game. They sort of stuck to their plan, and Riley had a really good fourth quarter calling plays. And They put Moss in position to have success, and he did it. And that was a big win for them.
Yep.
And listen, this was the point I've tried to make to people, but it's very clear that it falls on deaf ears. And again, not a criticism. It's not. It just shows you the emotion of fandom. That could be the kind of game that at the end of the year, when the committee's going, all right, Notre Dame's in, only the SEC or one or the other, but not both, can get 4. Let's start comparing leagues. I don't know that they'll do that. I would be concerned that they would do that. And they go, hey, LSU was 5th in the SEC. USC was 5th in the Big Ten. They played each other on a neutral field. Edge Big Ten.
Yeah.
And I don't know that it's going to come down to something that simple. In fact, it probably wouldn't, but I wouldn't want that.
Yeah.
That's a little bit of leverage the Big Ten's way.
Yeah. And again, if I'm LSU fan today, I know everybody's pissed off and all that stuff. I get it, but we'll talk about it in life advice. But I think everything's going to be okay. I think
so too. But
I'm not ready to overreact on LSU after week 1 playing USC.
I'm not going to overreact, but that was a big loss for them.
Yeah, of course you got to win the game.
It's a big loss for them, and you look at their schedule, and just some of they're better on defense than they were. But
they've improved.
But they're not world beaters.
No, they've improved. They've probably gone from about 100 and whatever to 70.
I'll give you my hot take prediction from that game.
Okay, I'm all about hot takes, overreaction, hot takes. Let's go.
LSU loses either at Texas A&M or at Arkansas. They lose one of those road games. They're not a good road team under Kelly. They lose one of those road games.
Okay, I'm not ready to go there, but I like your hot takes.
Not a good road team.
I like your hot takes. All right, Texas A&M, Neal. You had Texas A&M -3. They lose to Notre Dame 23-13 with a late touchdown that kind of extended it there.
I thought Marcus Freeman coached a hell of a football game.
Yeah, they're good. Is that me or you?
I think it's me. I don't know.
Yes, you could have came through the computer. I think they're both. I think that was a very physical game. Very physical game. If you like defense, that was a great game to watch.
Yep.
Very competitive. It's one of my favorite games to watch. I watched every snap of that one. One of my favorite games to watch of the weekend. My takeaways from that were both really on both sides. LSU has a easier schedule. LSU. Notre Dame has an easier schedule to get there. My concern really on both sides is just explosiveness on offense. Riley Leonard didn't push it, and sure as the hell Connor Wegman didn't. Connor Wegman, I think, at one time was like 4 of 13 when the ball traveled more than 5 yards downfield at some point in time in the game. He missed some throws. I don't have a problem with Texas A&M's play calling. I don't have a problem with Texas A&M's scheme at all. I thought schematically they did some really good things. My problem was execution of the offense, particularly from the quarterback position. He really struggled accuracy-wise versus with wide-open guys. So it's not a scheme problem. And so that would probably be my issue there is they had opportunities. Texas A&M had opportunities to have explosive plays in the passing game that were not executed properly. But they're damn good on defense now. Texas A&M was damn good on defense. Yeah. They were probably on the field longer than they had to be. And then they had the one right there at the end. They had the one where they fit counter wrong in the run game. The Mike Backer overflowed and they left them wide, right down the hash, left the A-gap untouched and got hammered there. But I wouldn't be I wouldn't be discouraged if I was Texas A&M fan. I think the players are much, you can see a difference in coaching. They're much better coached. Defensively, especially, and offensively, the scheme is really good. It just has to be executed better. And then if I'm at Notre Dame, you got to be really encouraged because there's not a whole lot you're going to play that's better than what you saw the other night. Oh. If you can win one on the road like that.
I think Notre Dame's probably a playoff team.
Yeah, Notre Dame pretty much guaranteed themselves a trip in December somewhere.
If they stay healthy. I mean, Leonard's a solid quarterback. I thought he hurt his hand a little bit on the helmet.
Yeah.
And that affected his accuracy a little bit at times, but he's gutsy as hell. And again, Freeman gets a lot of criticism for coaching, and I thought he really had his team ready to play.
Yeah, they were ready. I mean, hats off to them. And they had all that inexperience up front on offensive line, and they held their own. You know what I mean? Like they didn't just get embarrassed out there. So hats off to them. All right, Neal, in your last game, which is a game that you and I both lost, Boy, if I ever was like, boy, I'm wrong on this one, let me tell you where I was wrong this past week.
Penn State looked good.
West Virginia, you had the money line. I had Country Roads +8. And the Penn State Nittany Lions said, hold my beer, Country Roads.
Totally different play calling style for them.
And watch this.
Yeah, totally different play calling style for them. They opened it up. My apologies to Drew Aller. You're better than I thought you were. I thought he played really well. They've got receivers who are playmakers. They're explosive. They're different. And look, I know it's West Virginia, and West Virginia's not a Big Ten team. I get it. I'm just one of my kind of takeaways, and I'm you know me, I don't do a lot of the week one hot takeaways, and I'm not the guy that sits and watches game after game after game after game after game. In fact, I went for a run during that game, which was stupid. It was hot as hell. Like there was a dragon on the street. It was so hot.
Was he drinking Red Dragon?
Yeah, and he was like, "Hey,
by Rain Total Body Fuel."
He was
300
like,
milligrams.
He was like, "You want some of this?" And I was running to it, and then all of a sudden he just poof disappeared. So I mean, I'm not the guy that just sits and studies it, but you can see a difference with Penn State. Their offense is different.
Yeah,
it's totally opened up. They're having fun. They've got athletes everywhere, and defensively, it's a typical James Franklin sort of team. They're physical and tough. And watch Penn State. Again, I go back into the SC LSU thing. If you start comparing leagues, and the Big Ten's got neutral site wins over the SEC, you're going to look back and go, I kind of wish LSU would have won that game.
Dude, and my apologies. I'd like to make a public apology to Nittany Lion Nation. And I didn't really doubt you. I thought West Virginia would cover. Zero chance. They had the ball like one of the first drives, had the ball like 4th and an inch, and they tried to do the tush push, and they went backwards.
Yeah, I saw that.
The physical difference in those two teams were night and day.
Yes.
Up pretty
100%.
much at every spot. But like I'm talking about, it was like what I mean, it was a physical mismatch from the jump.
Penn State looked the part.
They look good, dude. And then, Drew Aller still is – he doesn't have to be great in that offense because he's such surrounded with other things. He still has some fundamental issues throwing to his left. He's inaccurate to his left because of his footwork in the pocket. I'm sure they've probably been trying to hammer that down. He's very tall in the pocket. He's a tall guy that's very tall, but he's more athletic than people give him credit for. He was able to extend plays on third. I can't tell you how many times they had 3rd and long, and they were playing 2-man or whatever, and he would take off running and get the first down.
Yeah, he made some plays.
He
did.
And so hats off there. I thought Alex called a great game offensively. I thought my guy TA, Tom Allen, did great on defense. They got guys. I thought one of my big week one takeaways, like yours, is I think Penn State is one. They have a unbelievable schedule to get there in December, which we talked about. Mm-hmm. I already had them going to December. I'm convinced Penn State is in the playoffs after watching that. They are better than I even thought they were.
Yeah.
They look, and I know what I saw, and you can say, oh, West Virginia's not shitty now. They took an above average solid team and dismantled them physically in a game.
Yeah.
So
no, Penn State looked really good. They looked physical. They looked the part.
They look different.
You've had Wendy's Nugs dipped in sauce. Have you had them covered in sauce? Wendy's new spicy Nugs have the crispy and spicy Nugs you love, and they turn them up to 11. Choose between flavors like buffalo, honey barbecue, garlic parm, or if you're a real heat seeker, try spicy ghost pepper. Only on Wendy's signature spicy Nugs. I dare you. That's 7 delicious ways to try the Nugs you already love, so pick a flavor. Grab some extra napkins and prepare to nug like you've never nugged before. For a whole new way to nug, it's got to be Wendy's at participating U.S. Wendy's.
Oh, love it. Let's go. By the way, I was watching Wendy's is running some ads on, in between in the commercials about the spicy nugs and nugs like you never know. I was dying. I couldn't. I was laughing during the games. Just could visualize my man Scoops reading that reader.
Yep.
Literally that makes my day. I look forward to it every day. It's my favorite part of the day.
Love you, Wendy's. All
right, Neal, your boy Cisco went 4-2. We got some. We're going to go under review here in a minute, but as of right now, I went 4-2. The call on the field is I went 4-2 plus 2.25 units. The first game I had Jacksonville State Coastal under 54.5. No bueno for your boy. That game went way over. I know Rich Rod was hot. I didn't text him. I knew he was hot, and they've probably had a fun week at practice. They pretty much offensively, they turned the ball over. That's like the way to win. They pretty much did everything you could think of to give yourself not a chance to win a game. They got beat up front. They turned the ball over, and they turned the ball over for 6 points the other direction. So not a good combination there. And I don't know the percentage. I'm sure there's a stat out there I can find. Whenever the defensive team, or you get a special teams or a defensive touchdown, I imagine the under doesn't hit very often in those games.
No, Coastal's got a good program,
and Coastal looked really good.
Yeah, they looked physical.
Physical, that's right. Well, they look bigger and physical than most teams at that level. So good job for them. But yeah, I'm sure it's not a great week at practice in Jacksonville, Alabama today. And our guy Rich Rod will get them right. But I missed that one. I was shocked on that one. I guess Vegas was too. Jacksonville State was a 2.5-point favorite in that game. They lose 55-27, take them on the chin. All right, Neal. I had the Georgia Southern Eagles at home plus 13 against Boise. And brother, the fourth quarter was a emotional swing for all of the Georgia Southern bettors.
Mm-hmm.
That fourth quarter was a swing. They actually had the lead in the fourth quarter, and they just could not. Boise State's running back ran for like 874 yards and 64 touchdowns, like broke all kinds of records in that game. They couldn't stop him. Dude was cramping at the end of a long run. So defensively, they couldn't stop him. But here's Boise ends up winning 56-45. Our good friends at Georgia Southern had the lead in the fourth quarter. Neal, they end up grabbing a 56-30. It was 37-35 in the fourth. Boise comes roaring back. They end up taking a 56-37 lead. So they were covering.
Oh, wow.
And what happened? For the first time of the year, we got a backdoor McCready cover. They drive the length of the field. They score. And, Neal, all they have to do is kick the extra point. All they have to do to kick the extra point to cover. But what do? They go for two to try to cut it to 11. I started getting nervous. I was going to push. But they convert the 2-point conversion. The Neal McCready, backdoor McCready cover, first one of the year. Georgia Southern covers. Georgia Southern looked actually pretty good on offense. Schematically, they're good. They still don't have the horses. Like I know Ole Miss plays them here in a couple of weeks.
Yep.
Defensively, they were no bueno. They got to do a better job on defense. They did not fit the run very, very well and did not tackle very well. So they got some things they got to get fixed defensively pretty quick there. All right, Neal, this is the one that's under review, and I'm willing to participate with this. We'll just see how you want to count this. I had the Kentucky Southern Miss under.
I'll go ahead and tell you the game counts. The game's final. They made it final.
But let me. I
understand they stopped the game in the third quarter.
So I bet it like I bet all of my bets, and the actual books voided the bet and just gave the money back. So that's why I was saying, however you want to count this one. You're good?
Yeah, the game was played.
All right. So I had the Kentucky. I'll take it. Kentucky Southern Miss under 49.5. Still think it was going to hit. The game was called at 31-0, and I think like 10 minutes, 9 minutes, 8 minutes or something. I don't remember what the time was. I was happy for them. They treated the halftime, because it was such a long delay. They treated halftime like a change of quarter. They didn't go in. They came out and started playing pretty quick. So, but they just bad weather. But here was my deal with Kentucky. I thought Kentucky looked really good on defense. They had some things where they had Ole Miss fans are going to have some twitching right now. They had some eye violations on the defensive backfield. Got caught peeking a few times, particularly in zone. Particularly in man. They got caught peeking a few times unnecessarily, but very active on defense, more active than a Kentucky defense. And Kentucky's been good on defense, very active. Southern Miss, I know what the score was. Southern Miss did some good things. So I think if you're a Golden Eagle fan, I think you got some things to look forward to in the Sun Belt. Vandergriff, Vandergriff looked like a guy who has had a little bit of inexperience and hadn't had the reps. He made some really good plays. Probably did a little bit too much as far as trying to make plays happen instead of just burning them. Try to do too much with his legs. Took too many unnecessary shots. He's the guy that tries to run over. He's got the Jackson Dart 2023 disease where he's trying to run over people. And don't do that in the Southern Miss game. nothing good comes with that. Slide, get down, don't take the extra unnecessary hits. You're going to hit plenty in this league. And then he was a little late on some balls and missed some reads, but solid. He's talented. So I still don't have any better feeling than I had about Kentucky going to the game. I thought Barry and Brown did some good things. They got some weapons. So look for them. Next couple of weeks is going to determine where they're at, and we'll talk about the next few weeks coming up. But Kentucky's solid, man. Very active on defense. Did you get a chance to watch any of that late?
I did not.
That was kind of like they didn't come on to like 9:30 or something. It was crazy.
No, I was writing about a 76-0.
All right, Neal. We talked about. I had the West Virginia. I talked about that one.
I'll say this about Kentucky. I think history says Kentucky's probably going to be a pretty good team.
Yeah, I just have a tough time. I have a big window on them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I have a tough time narrowing it down.
We do weird. I'm not even going to get into it. It's one of my media takes. Media decides in July what a team's going to be, and then stubbornly sticks to it.
Yeah,
we're not going to get them all right.
Nope. You may tell you one I got right though, Neal. I got the Colorado North Dakota State under 60.5 right. I got a couple takes on this one. This is probably going to piss a lot of people off, but that's what I'm here for. One, Colorado did not fix anything. They have 3 elite players on their team. Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter is the best football player in college, period. End of the discussion. There's not a better football player in college football than Travis Hunter. He is the best football player. And then Jimmy Horn at receiver is an elite player. He's an NFL player, could play receiver at any school in America and start. He is an elite player. But besides those 3 guys, their average is grits. Here's my deal, and this is kind of my takeaway there. This game went back and forth. They couldn't stop North Dakota State. That's not a good sign when you can't stop. They pretty much did what they wanted to do in the passing game. They were very undisciplined on defense with run fits. They had multiple people in gaps and just leaving 2 and 3 gaps uncovered on defense. Offensively, Shedeur Sanders still doing the same thing. Just run the offense. This guy's really talented as a quarterback when he just runs the offense. He tries to do too much. Like I don't know if he tries to go Michael Vick and run around and all that. He's not Michael Vick. Just run the offense. He tries to do too much. He still takes too many sacks. And the offensive line's bad enough. You don't need to help them by leaving the place that they're actually protecting. He leaves the pocket unnecessarily too many times.
Travis Hunter should sue them.
Let me tell you something. Travis Hunter, I said this going into the game. I think my opinion has changed. I've always said, and I'm not the only one, NFL guy said the same thing. If you told me a week ago, hey, what is Travis Hunter? I'd say he's an NFL corner because you can't find guys like that play corner. Neal, I don't know, man. After watching that game,
he can play receiver if he wants.
If he committed to playing receiver,
he could literally do either one.
And he's not really committed. I say committing, like getting the development of playing the position.
No, that's the
holy shit.
The tragedy in this is that if you put him on any number of programs, pick one. I mean, really any SEC program.
Okay.
Any of the 16. Like, forget the top echelon. You put him on Kentucky, Arkansas, South Carolina, Mississippi State.
Okay.
They'd put him on one side of the ball. And they'd coach him, and he would be developed. And he would literally be the best player at that position in all of college football. He is anyway.
Yep.
But this deal where you're playing 120-something snaps in a game.
The only reason he came off the field is his helmet.
It's not benefiting anyone. It's this thing.
It's your iPad. You got Apple covered over here today. Not a sponsor, but Apple if you would like to be. I know some guys that will.
But it's a disservice to him.
My
opinion, and that's probably not a popular opinion, but like him playing 120-something snaps is what's in it for him?
I've watched a lot of ball. I've watched a lot of guys in my career, in my lifetime of doing this for a living. I don't know if I've ever, matter of fact, I know I haven't. He has the best balance and body control that I have ever seen on a human being on this planet. I'm talking about the way his body control is just beyond elite. Like whatever elite is, he's like a whole nother step. Like you got to have a whole nother word for it. And I've seen some some damn good ones. If he was to get a hold of a receiver, and play receiver and concentrate on playing receiver, because we know he can run, he's got all the other skills, ball skills are freaky. Like this guy could be the best wide receiver to ever play the game kind of good. Like it's scary. Okay. I mean, that's how good. All right. I say all this. Here's my other take on this game, Neal. And I listened to shows today. I tried to listen to as many review shows as I could listen to since Thursday night. I haven't heard one person talking about this. We're probably going to be the first. Here's what bothers me about this whole situation. At the end of that game, Colorado gets a pass interference call with 1 minute and 41 seconds to go in the game. North Dakota State has 1 timeout left. Okay? Now, when you're doing the math, like on the old card, when you're doing the math, if the play clock, if you took the snap and took a knee, okay, like real quick, and they started play clock immediately, okay, the old card would tell you that you can burn off 1 minute and 23 seconds off the clock. Okay, so by the old math, basically with just taking the snap and taking an immediate knee and the play clock starting right now, you could only leave them with 18 seconds left. After you punted, they were probably going to have 10 seconds left, 10 to 12 seconds left. Okay, if you took a knee. If you ran the ball, just hand the ball off, okay, on the outside zone. Just hand the damn ball off on outside zone. The clock was going to run out. North Dakota State was never going to get the ball back. Every coach in America knew that. But what did they do on the first play with 1 minute and 41 seconds? They threw the damn ball deep. They took a shot. Not only throwing the ball is bad enough, but they took a low percentage ball, throwing it deep, and then didn't stop the clock. So North Dakota State was able to stop the clock on second down after the timeout, and they had to punt the ball back to North Dakota State with 38 seconds on the clock. How many seconds are on the play clock, Neal? 40, right?
Yeah.
They had to punt it back with 38 seconds. So if they just ran offense, they would have ran the clock out. They wouldn't have had to even give them back. And North Dakota State,
well, they're an undisciplined team,
takes the ball and throws a Hail Mary and catches it at the 5-yard line. And there was like targeting not called and stuff, and the clock operator and all that stuff at the end of the game. But I'm just talking about, here's my point. If that was any other of the other 132 head coaches on the planet, people would be wearing his ass out. Like, you didn't have to give the ball back to North Dakota State. But if that was any of the other 132 coaches on the planet, they would have been grilled about their decision-making. Can you imagine Sam Pittman or Shane Beamer or Billy Napier or Mario Cristobal or whoever? Can you imagine another of the 132 coaches, any of them? Mike Loxley, it doesn't matter. Can you imagine doing that, what the media would be like on that guy after the game? Because they were 5 yards short of winning the damn game.
Yeah.
Because he caught the Hail Mary at the 5.
Right.
They should have never got the ball back.
Yeah. I think of your preseason big predictions, this is the one that I feel best about. He's not going to be there next year. I don't even think he really wants to be. I think it's all part of an act.
Did you see that? Oh, you didn't see it. I almost sent it to you. There was some media outlet did their hot take after the game and said, my hot take is this is last year coaching. I was going to get Cole to clip it and do it, but I didn't do it. Missed opportunity there.
Yeah.
All right, Neal, my money line I hit. How about the Eastern Michigan hitting the money line against UMass? They win 28-14, total domination. Great defensive performance by our friends at Eastern Michigan. They get the money line plus 125 against UMass. I was probably, myself and all the parents of UMass and Eastern Michigan and the Eastern Michigan fans were the only people watching that game on the ESPN app, but I watched it.
Probably so.
Shout out to our good friends at Eastern Michigan for covering that. All right?
Yep.
All right. A couple other games we'll discuss that were not on that. North Carolina, Thursday night, beats Minnesota 19-17. Shout out to our good friend, Jeff Collins.
Yep.
Defensively looked night and day what they've been on defense. They held him. I texted Jeff after the game. Shout out to him. He was all fired up. Held Minnesota to 3 yards rushing in the second half. They played very physical. Big story out of this: Max Johnson breaks his leg. That was disgusting.
Yeah, it's awful.
If you haven't watched it,
No.
don't watch it. It's a bad like.
He had surgery in Minneapolis hours later.
Yeah,
right?
it was bad.
Yeah,
it was a broken leg. It was not pretty to look at. Nate Harrell's going to get the start for them. They're going to have to change a little bit what they do offensively. He's more of a runner than Max was. They'll be ready to go, but they have a friendly schedule. Defense is good, but that's not going to help them losing a quarterback like that, losing your starting quarterback in the opener. But shout out to our good friend Jeff Collins there. All right, Michigan 30, Fresno 10. I'm going to stay on my hot take. Michigan did not. They look like exactly what we thought they were. They look like they've lost a bunch of dudes. The talent level is not the same. Fresno had the ball down 6 in the fourth quarter. So let's don't act like you look at the score and everybody's like, oh, Michigan won. But if you didn't watch the game, Fresno has the ball down 6 with a chance to do it, and they throw a pick 6 and they do all kinds of shit late. But they're going to have their hands full with Texas. We'll talk about that more tomorrow, and then on Make It Rain Thursday. Michigan's got their hands full with the Longhorns coming out.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's talk about the SEC games. All right, there wasn't on Make It Rain since we got a massive SEC show. Georgia all over Clemson, 34-3. A lot of Dabo hot takes, and it was like, "What's wrong with Dabo? Fire Dabo!" Da-da. Their number one problem that Clemson has is they play Georgia week 1.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, I don't. I mean, we'll find out about Clemson.
We'll find out. But
the one thing that's pretty obvious is that Georgia's elite,
brother. They got depth. They just kept rolling in guys, and like I was joking with somebody. I don't remember who I said it to, but I was like, it was like 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and they signed the number 1 overall player in America last year, and he didn't get to play till like 6 minutes to go in the game. Like, they got dudes.
Yeah, they have lots of them. I mean, again, I told you in Dallas, I talked to people that were around the Georgia program, people that were inside the Georgia program, and they were saying this is Kirby's best team.
And Clemson made it.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Clemson, I think our good friend Matt Luke, being on the other side, had some ideas on how to slow Georgia down offensively, considering he coached offensive line in that system. And it worked for the first half. Georgia came out and changed what they did in the second half to get away from some of that stuff. And they were able to open it up. But here's the thing. Georgia reminds me of like prime Alabama days on defense, to where every play is so damn stressful for you on offense, to where you got to work so damn hard to get 6 yards, and it's just, they limit explosive plays. And it just makes, when you're calling a game, you can't make a mistake. And they're damn good, dude.
And Clemson is not as talented as they once were. For whatever reason, they're not. They're not.
They're missing it at the right position, in my opinion, is one of the bigger. It's magnifying that, but they're missing it at the right positions, and that's the playmaker positions. I think they're going to be. I think they're still going to be good on defense. And again, we've all seen the ACC, so that's kind of my take there. Is like, Georgia's really damn good. And I told Clemson fans, how would you feel if you were playing? If Arkansas had to play Georgia, and then Clemson got to play Arkansas Pine Bluff. If we swapped, then we'd have the same sentiments on the other side. All right, we can't have a show without talking about, because we may not get to talk about them very often. How about our Vanderbilt Commodores, the fighting Neal McCready brother Clark Lees, with a 34-27 overtime dub? How awesome was that?
It was great. I mean,
that made my weekend.
He's a guy who could have kind of made some excuses last year. He doesn't play with the same resources as the other 15 teams in his league. No. He could he literally could pour mouth and it would be the truth. And instead, what they did was they looked in the mirror and said, "Hey, let's fix what we can fix." And they fixed a lot of things. They kind of overhauled most of the stuff inside their program.
Look more athletic.
They jumped into the portal as much as they could. They went out and dramatically improved at the quarterback position. And he took over the defense, he being Clark. And I just thought they were much better. I didn't think –
they looked like the better team. Yeah, I mean, that wasn't a fluke.
I was going to say I didn't think it was fluky at all. I just think they kind of got it done. And then, late when they kind of blew the lead, and it looked like they could go, okay, well, here we go again. Then they missed the field goal that would have won the game. it would have been real easy to go, it's just not meant to be. It's not in the cards. And instead they went out and dominated the overtime period. So I just thought it was cool. I thought it was great for them. Frankly, I think it's great for the league. I was happy for Clark Lee. It ought to shut up all the hot seat ridiculousness. And look, and they're still going to lose a bunch of games, but
yeah, I'm not ready to put them in the playoffs yet.
No. But if you're a marginal team, you can't take them lightly.
100%. My one is I'm a hand raised guy myself. Disappointed in Virginia Tech. Thought they would be better than that. They looked like they were almost been reading their press clippings too much. They did not look interested in playing the game. When they finally got interested in playing the game, they realized they were in trouble. It's too late. They did not look like the best team on the field. And shout out to Jerry Kill. Okay, Jerry Kill's a guy he's the offense coordinator, calling all the plays. And Diego Pavia, who's one of our favorites to watch, who's now I'm glad the world gets to see him play now. And somebody said, well, they're still at Vandy. I say, okay, agree. But Jerry Kill's going to do the best with least talented than you've seen. Very impressed with that and what they did. Shout out. I mean, I thought Vandy was the best team on the field. So I'm glad they saw some adversity and came back. Tennessee all over Chattanooga, 69-3. Look, I got one thing out of this. Neal, I told this on Chase's y'all's postgame show. I had to cover my britches after watching him throw it. Like, dude,
sure,
it's a freaking thing of beauty when it comes out of his hand, man. I mean, I'm talking about he is a dream watching.
He makes them a playoff contender.
Whew.
I'm not saying they're going to the playoffs.
Well,
I'm just telling you, when he's on the field, outside of Georgia, there's nobody that's not gettable for them.
I mean, it was. I know it's UTC, and I'm trying.
Of course.
But dude, I'm just talking about what it looked like when this dude's in there. I mean, he threw some balls, Neal, that you're like, holy shit! Like, when you watch Travis Hunter make a freaking play,
no, he's the deal.
Like, you can see greatness when you see it.
He's the deal.
I'm trying to pump the brakes. It's his second freaking start, but holy shit, he's good.
No, he's the real deal.
He is the real deal.
I mean, people do the Iowa stuff last year. Iowa was elite defensively, and he just absolutely sliced and diced Iowa in a bowl game.
It was pretty, man.
Tennessee's
legit.
Josh has done a tremendous job there.
All right, Texas 52-0 over Colorado State. Texas, still good, dog.
I'm backing off my Texas to lose a bunch of games thing. Athletes everywhere. And all the talk about quarterback play, they have an advantage that a lot of teams don't.
They got two of them.
They don't fall off from 1 to 2.
Yeah,
I'm not sure 2's not better than 1.
Yeah, my take on Texas is Quinn Ewers better stay healthy this time, or he'll get Tom Brady / Drew Bledsoe out of this thing.
Yeah,
because once Arch gets out there, it's going to be hard to take him off the field. He's talented.
Arch is really good.
And Colorado State's not bad. I mean, that's the thing. Colorado State.
There were people that did that last year. Arch sucks. I'm like, okay.
Well,
okay,
you know why that. You know why that was.
Well, it was just everywhere. I mean, people want him to suck
because his last name.
Yeah, but no, he's the deal.
All right, here we go. This is the take everybody's waiting for. Miami 41, Florida 17.
Got 2 takes.
All right, I got 2 as well. Which one do you want first?
Well, my first one
Go ahead.
My first one is that Miami is the class of the ACC.
It's not even close, is it?
Not even close. Miami is a playoff team.
I'm glad I picked them to win the ACC.
And then the second is, it's one thing to lose. It's another thing to lose like that. He took a shot at the fans today. It's over. It's over. And I know he's your friend, and I'm not talking about
No, I'm not talking about that.
But he's done. He's not going to survive this. The Florida stuff is going to get hot. In general, Missouri's going to have to deal with it. Ole Miss is going to have to deal with it. Other people are going to have to deal with it. People are going to start talking about Florida and that job. And look, I'm gonna go ahead and get ahead of it now. I'm not saying Eli Drinkwitz won't take it or Lane Kiffin won't take it. But I had this conversation with someone earlier today. In 2018, if you'd asked 100 coaches, what's a better job, Missouri or Florida? 100 would have said Florida. If you'd said, what's a better job, Ole Miss or Florida? 100 would have said Florida. I don't know that those numbers would be the same today. Florida has issues at the top now because Strickland has made hires that didn't work. How much stability does he have? What is their NIL situation? What does that job look like moving forward? Because it was once great doesn't mean it's great in this era. And so, I think if you look at Florida, you can see a whole bunch of L's on the schedule. They're not going to navigate this schedule. They're not good enough. If I were them, I would abort this Graham Mertz thing right now and go to Lagway and see what I've got.
Well, they're not going to have a choice.
Hope that I've got something. But that being said, they're not very good anywhere. And so whoever takes this job is taking a job that is, unless they have a considerable NIL war chest that nobody knows of, and maybe they do, I don't know. But unless they do, this is a rebuild at a place where they aren't patient with rebuilds. You know, people were critical of Dan Mullen, what he said the other day, and I kind of laughed. I'm like, but he's right. He won, and then one year he didn't, and he made a couple of comments, and it pissed them off because they think that because Steve Spurrier won and because Urban Meyer won, that, and they're Florida, and they're the Gators, and they have these cool uniforms and the jump man, and that they should be this elite program. And the truth is, right now, they're behind a whole bunch of programs in the SEC. And I'll be honest, I'll go beyond Ole Miss and Missouri because it's easy to talk about Ole Miss and Missouri because of Kiffin and Drinkwitz. If some of the other jobs that people talk about open up, I'm not sure South Carolina's not a better job. I'm not sure Arkansas is not a better job. They might be further ahead on getting the NIL together to be competitive. Just because Florida won in the previous era, that doesn't mean anything in this era. Nothing. It doesn't mean they won't win, but you won't win because you won. You won't win because you won. Any more than you won't win because you lost. You can change it.
Yep.
And just because you're winning now doesn't mean you'll win in 5 years. It doesn't mean that anymore. You've got to understand that it's a completely different paradigm. You don't win even at the places like Alabama and Ohio State and Georgia. You don't win just because you roll the helmet out. Nope, you got to have all the stuff rolling. Georgia's not winning right now because Kirby's buying all the players. No, they're winning right now because they have just best system. Nick Saban won all those years because he had a great system. Yeah, sure. Everybody bought players. I get it.
Nope, didn't happen.
But that wasn't it. That wasn't it. And Florida's got some issues here. Billy didn't suddenly become a terrible coach. That's not what happened. But it's the other thing that people do, it's a hot take for me, and this is probably something you typically would say. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, he's a shitty coach. I'm like, no, he's not. But sometimes it's a bad fit. It's like sometimes you can see this really nice guy and this really nice girl, and you're like, they'd be great together. And they don't. They're oil and water. They don't mix. This just didn't fit. I'll be honest. If I'm Eli Drinkwitz, I think long and hard before I leave Columbia to go to Gainesville. If I'm Lane Kiffin, I think long and hard before I leave Oxford to go to Gainesville. Long and hard. Like I gotta really know beyond. I gotta have it in writing. I gotta really know you're fully committed. You're in this thing. Because I'm at places now where I'm beloved. I'm getting what I want. And I've got stability. Like Drinkwitz next year goes 7-5. No one's gonna say a word. If Ole Miss takes a big step back next year because they had to lose all these players, then no one's going to say shit. No one. I mean, the handful of people who
the minority,
the nut jobs.
Yeah,
but no, not normal people.
No,
there won't be any heat at all. Florida is showing that hey, we have no patience, and they're also showing, but we really don't understand what the system is. And I like Scott Strickland, I do, but Scott Strickland's kind of an old school AD.
All right, my two takes. One, before I get to the last one, the first one is Miami's the real deal. I thought they completely dominated the game. Cam Ward is the freaking truth.
He's very good.
And he even did some stuff that wasn't great. Like you can still coach him up. Like don't be throwing the ball behind, across your body and things like that. That's where he made a mistake. Miami's the real deal. I really do. And the only people similar to Georgia. The only team that Georgia's biggest opponent in their schedule is the Clark County Sheriff's Department, and the biggest opponent on Miami's schedule is Miami themselves. Okay, Those are the biggest opponents they have. Miami's the real deal.
To your point, Miami's really invested in NIL.
They've invested.
It's why
all in.
It's why 2 or 3 years ago, when everyone was talking about Kiffin to LSU, I was like, that's not really the one y'all should be worried about.
Yeah.
You should be worried about Miami.
A lot of people, per sources, and this is 100% fact, there's a lot of people that are having quarterback problems this year that really went full invest on Cam Ward and didn't get him. Miami won the bidding war on Cam Ward, and it showed. All right, so that's one, is Miami's the real deal. And it's kind of funny is like now everybody's going to jump on the bandwagon after they've been killing Miami for all these years. Like Miami's going to screw it. Like, dude, they're good. The only people that can beat Miami is Miami.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. Let's talk about Florida, okay? From a game standpoint, the biggest issue they had, they were 0-8 on third down. Situational football was terrible. Graham Mertz didn't push the ball downfield. The protection, they got themselves in too many third and longs. The offensive line couldn't block, couldn't match up at all, and it just caused all kinds of problems. All right, now I'm going to go on this Billy thing, right? And I will say the same thing. There's one thing about being, and I said this, and the chat's going to start laughing because if they saw me in the lives this weekend, this is kind of my deal. It's one thing to be upset and you need to make a change and all this stuff, and Florida fans are going to be mad at Billy. We need to make a change. That's a $61 million decision. Okay, you got revenue sharing, you got buyouts, you got to increase your NIL, you got to buy out the new staff. All in, you're probably looking at a $61 million decision. And so it's one thing to be pissed off and feeling like you made a change, but unless something has changed I'm unaware of, they're not Texas A&M or Texas. They can go drop that kind of money.
Right.
That is a big damn investment. You may be stuck. And so that's the thing there is like you got to decide that we want to write if it's bad enough, then you're going to have to write the check. I don't feel bad for Billy. I love Billy.
Sure, no.
All right, but he's supposed to get a $26 million check to walk out the door.
I'd kill to get $26 million.
And so Billy's going to be fine. It's not even that.
I can't even imagine how happy. If Rivals called me today and said, we'll give you $26 million to just go away today.
You'd be like, see ya.
What would you like for me to wear? What door would you, how exactly would you like for me to leave? Is there a song you'd like me to sing? I mean, I'm absolutely. Please.
Just revenue sharing, just the revenue sharing bill and a buyout's got you over 50 to start before you start buying out coaches, and increasing your NIL's got you over 50.
Yeah, sure.
So I did the math. It's around 61 million, right? So there's one thing about being pissed. It's another thing to go, okay, guys, we're writing the check. That's two different conversations.
Yeah.
All right, so that's one.
Two. The day that you get rid of him, you got to hire the next guy. And the day that you get rid of him, it's not his fault anymore.
Two is at some point in time, I said this when we talked about this in the offseason, at some point in time, and I'm paralleling what you said, at some point in time, Florida's got to look Florida in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Dan Mullen can coach football. You fired him after taking you the SEC championship. His tweet was not wrong. I agree. I was like, yeah, he's right.
Yeah.
Jim McElwain. All right, Jim McElwain and Dan Mullen have won everywhere they've ever coached except for Florida. And they won at Florida. They just had that one bad year that you got rid of.
They got upset at McElwain over a couple things that he said. And next thing you know, he's out the door. And
we can say we want to about Urban Meyer. He won national championships, but hey, all of a sudden, Lazarus, he woke up from his health scare and was able to coach Ohio State to the national championship. They ran his ass out too and did a whole Lazarus, let's get better.
Both Meyer and Spurrier. Look, I like Spurrier, and I'm not crazy about Meyer, but both of them, wherever they've been, they won. Yeah. I mean, Spurrier won at Duke. He won at South Carolina. Look at Steve Spurrier's record at South Carolina. Look at Urban Meyer's record at Utah. Look at his record at Florida. Look at his record of Ohio State. They win. Now, you can question how they won. There's a whole documentary about how he won at Florida, but it doesn't state. The point is that those two coaches win everywhere they go. And so at some point, it's kind of like the Tom Brady Patriots thing. Did you win because it was the Patriot way, or did you win because Tom Brady was like the best quarterback ever and he just won?
Right.
It was the Brady thing. Yeah, the Colts have never been the same since Peyton left, right? I mean, it's still a player game. And so, look, I think you have to probably write the check and make the move, because you just can't continue to just sit there stagnantly. But once you decide to do it, I think they're going to be surprised at how,
which is where I'm going right now.
That job, people are going to use it to get more money from their place, which is why if I'm Lane Kiffin, if I'm Eli Drinkwitz, I'm like, yeah, put it out there that I'm interested. Sure, absolutely. Just leak it out there. But I'm going to get more out of it. But at some point, before someone actually takes it, I got to know, hey, man, are y'all dialed in?
I asked this question on live today, okay? And there's going to be, I know they're pushing the Lane, the Florida fans are pushing this Lane Kiffin thing and all that. But I just asked Florida fan one real simple question. Why in the hell, I'm asking anybody, anybody in the chat, why would a coach that has a really comfortable bed right now, why would any coach leave? Why go to Florida? Like, why?
That's what I'm saying.
Like, there's no, like, somebody's like, oh, the money. No, it ain't going to be the money.
No.
Because he's going to make as much money, and it's not NIL because he's got more NIL here. It's not his family. His whole damn family's living here, okay? No. So there is no reason.
That's why I do the Venn diagram thing on Kiffin so much, where I'm like, look, if Alabama had offered him the job, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Him and 99.99% of the coaching populace. There probably was a point where if LSU had offered the job, sure, LSU's a great elite job, right? But we're talking about just a very small handful of jobs. I'm going to be honest, I'm not convinced Florida is one of those jobs. In fact,
I'm convinced it's not.
In the state of Florida, as it pertains to like threats for Lane Kiffin, I actually think Florida's third. I think both Miami and Florida State would be bigger threats to steal Lane Kiffin.
Miami for sure.
I'm just being honest, based on things I know and things I've heard. I don't know that, and I don't know that Eli Trinkwitz is going to leave.
Why would he? That's what I'm saying. He's got I'm just trying to tell the fans how coaches think.
Missouri's way ahead in NIL. They've done a phenomenal job of building NIL infrastructure. He's got the entire state legislature behind him. He's the only school in the state. He's able to recruit in those metropolitan areas and get players out of St. Louis, out of Kansas City. He's been able to go into Chicago some and recruit. He's super popular at this point. He's kind of got it going. Why you leaving for Florida? Why?
There's going to be two candidates for the Florida job, okay? Two type of candidates, okay? You're going to get the guy. You're not getting someone that's in the prime of their career that's going to leave something that they're making a ton of money in a competitive league to go to that shit show right now. Okay, that's not happening. And so you're getting two kinds of coaches. You're either going to get the guy who's in his late 50s who is going to say, okay, you're going to give me all this money because guess what that contract's going to have to look like, Neal? It's going to be a Billy Napier-ish contract with a buyout too, to where you go, hey, if you run my ass off in 2-3 years, I'm going to the beach.
Yeah.
Or you're going to get a guy that's not making a lot of money, that maybe making $2, $3, $4, $5 million a year.
Sure.
And is going to get a big payday. Okay, but you're not getting an established winning head coach. They would be asinine to take. Like, I would literally have to sit down Lane Kiffin and go, what in the hell are you thinking?
Yeah, I'll be honest, I don't really buy it.
Eli, what the hell are you thinking?
I don't buy it.
If I was his agent, no, boss. Like you said, hey, we'll use this. Hey, I'll float your name.
Yeah,
we'll get a raise.
100%.
But we ain't going nowhere. We ain't going to take that job. So, anyway.
100%.
All right, it's a lot on that. I'm sorry. Quickly on some of these, South Carolina, Old Dominion, 23-19. If I had to vote, had a FCC Power Rankings week 1, South Carolina would actually be at the bottom of the league for me right now. They struggled.
I put them at 15.
Who'd you have below them?
Florida. Just because it was such a devastating loss.
I still think Florida beat them, but my point is this.
Well, they very well might. I just did it from the whole,
man,
you went into a game where you knew this was going to be a litmus test, and you just got skull drugged.
They're on the struggle bus, boy. I'm talking about struggle bus. They actually were given that game. Mississippi State over Eastern Kentucky, 56-7.
Did what they're supposed to do. It's a good win for nice start for Jeff Lebby.
I thought the scheme on both sides of the ball was elite. I'm talking about shocker.
Jeff's going to be a really good offensive coach. Period.
And then look, here's the truth. He's missing some horses in some key places.
Yeah.
But schematically, they're going to be okay. I'm okay. They're going to give people problems. Now they got we'll talk about it tomorrow. They got a game that we all thought would be an easier game that's not going to be as easier game next week because Arizona State look real too.
For sure.
We'll talk about it tomorrow. But if I'm a Mississippi State fan, I'm positive today.
Yeah, I'm positive. As long as you're patient.
You got to be patient.
Really patient.
A lot of positivity for Mississippi State right now.
Because they're going to get talent beat a few times.
All right, we're gonna get to the super chats in just a second. Let me get through this so we don't on here for 5 hours. All right, Ole Miss 76-0. I know you covered the game. You've talked about it ad nauseum. I have two questions, and I want to say this: they're questions, not concerns. They're
Right.
questions, okay? And the reason they're questions is because we didn't see it. One is Ole Miss's running game. They just threw the ball the whole time, and they never tried to even think about establishing a running game. Just want to see what it's like. No concerns.
Sure.
I just think we both know to get where they want to go,
Yeah.
they have to be able to run the ball at some point in time.
100%.
So there's no concern.
Sure.
Just want to see it.
Agreed.
All right. And then the second thing is pass coverage. Hell, didn't get to see it because the defensive line was breathing down. They never got a chance to
blew a couple of coverages, had some linebacker coverage issues and stuff. But
they couldn't get challenged because of the talent and the defensive line, which is a good thing to do. But eventually they're going to get picked up.
They're elite up front.
And eventually they're going to pick them up every once in a while.
Yeah.
And I want to see that on the back end. But I did think they have some good length in the back end. That's going to help some things. But again, not concerns, questions.
No, I mean, look, I thought this is super chat here. Says in your time covering the Ole Miss beat, 3 most talented Ole Miss teams.
That's got to be one, huh?
This is one. This is number one. Probably 2015. Ole Miss is number 2. And then probably 2008 Ole Miss in terms of just raw talent.
Yeah, talent on field.
Number 3. Yeah.
Auburn 73-3 over Alabama A&M. No grinds. I saw grind in here. Here's the best way I can describe this game and describe Auburn right now. Peyton Thorne is still Peyton Thorne. He's still he tried to do too much. Just freaking run the offense, man. We don't need you to win the game.
They've added some players at receiver, though.
But he's got better toys to play with.
He does.
That's the best way.
Yeah.
And you can see the other 21 guys better. He's got better toys to play with, but he still just needs to run the freaking offense and don't try to do too much. We're not asking. Peyton Thorne doesn't need to be the guy trying to win the game.
Yeah.
He needs to be facilitating. But yeah, Grind, I'm sorry. They got toys.
He's, I think Hugh's making a kind of a calculated bet that, hey, I'm gonna build. I'm gonna trust that I can maintain, that I can hang on to some of these high school kids that I'm recruiting over the next couple of years, and then you'll go make the quarterback investment when the time's right.
I think they make it this year.
Yeah,
and I think they get Deuce Knight and they give him a year to grow up with an experienced portal guy. If I was a betting man,
I wouldn't disagree with that. And
I feel pretty confident.
And I've seen. I feel
pretty confident in that strategy.
I've seen Knight play. He's really good.
I feel semi-confident in that strategy.
Yeah.
All right, last two quickly. Missouri just dismantled Murray State. No surprise, they're still good. Luther Burton doesn't get the credit. He's awesome. And then Oklahoma,
Eli's done a really good job at he's done a really good job at Missouri.
And then Oklahoma dismantled Temple 51-3. 2 takeaways from this game. One, they're really good on defense. They're very good.
Yeah, knew they would be.
And then Jackson Arnold played really well.
I know.
Here's the deal.
They're not great
offensive
up front.
line.
Yeah, they're not great up front.
They have to be able. They did not. You should be able to move Temple. They were creating stalemates.
Yeah.
Wasn't really. They got it. That has to improve before Tennessee rolls into town in a few weeks. They got to figure that out. They got to figure out a way to move the football without them being dominant up front.
Yeah, I think Tennessee's going to get them.
All right.
It's going to be one of those welcome to the SEC moments, I think, where Oklahoma goes, hey, here's this big moment. Here's Tennessee, and Tennessee's going to get them.
That's going to be, that's
going to be a hell of a game.
Yeah. If they played in a parking lot in Tupelo, I want to know how the Norman first SEC home game stuff rocks. But yes, I agree with you. All right, tonight's game, Neal. I do have a take on this one. We got Florida State.
You skipped my Razorbacks.
Oh, shit, I did.
My
Dude,
God.
I missed. I apologize.
That hurts my
I got
feelings.
them all down, and I missed
No, I'm just devastated.
Arkansas 70-0.
I mean,
over
I thought
APB.
I thought we were great. I mean, obviously we were playing a really good team, and we just jumped on them quick. And, I just felt like I just really felt like it was a dominant performance. And I mean, I don't know how you keep them out of the playoff now. At the end of the year, I think people will look back on that 10-touchdown win over Pine Bluff and go, wow, that was a sign of things to come.
I tell you
what I did think about Arkansas quick.
Yeah, I was about to say, what's the serious take?
They were playing nobody, but schematically you could tell that it was completely Petrino's offense. It was far more creative than what they've been doing in the past several years, including the Kendall Briles years.
Wow, look at you.
Where they tried to get real tricky and stuff. Petrino's a really good offensive coach, and they ran his offense. And I do think Taylon Green's a good fit in that offense, and I think he's going to give some people some problems. I don't think Arkansas is winning a bunch of games, anything like that. Nothing like that. I do think they're a better team than they were a year ago because I think they're better coached than they were a year ago. And people forget that last year defensively, they weren't awful. This year they're better on offense. I think they're going to be a better team. That's it.
I agree. The thing they went.
They probably will make the AFC championship game.
Oh, I like it. I like the prediction. Here was my thing. They were just so much better talent wise. Like I said this in live. Like a second drive of the game. All right, they're at the like 7-yard line or something. They run read zone, and APB's Arkansas Pine Bluff's got a hammer coming off the edge. If any other, he should have hit Green in the ear hole, and he just went whoop whoop and went. You can't do that in the SEC, right?
No,
so
of course not.
Being fair, I think they're going to be better. I think they have a chance to get to the 6-6, 7-5 mark. They got a big test this weekend. They play Oklahoma State. We'll talk about them a little bit more tomorrow.
Yeah.
But they are definitely schematically. If you're an Arkansas fan, there's no way, or you're any fan, there's no way to deny that they are better than they were a year ago, and they're going to be a competitive team.
It shows that Sam Pittman's willing to do something that Jimbo Fisher wasn't willing to do. And that was hired an offensive coordinator and said, "Hit your offense, take it."
We'll get to all the super chats as soon as I finish this last part right here, so we don't run over.
Yeah, because we're running late.
Now. We're running late already.
I've got
6 minutes over.
Tons to write.
FSU minus 16 versus Boston College. Here's my take on this game. I will probably bet I don't know. This is the only take I have on this game. Is I'm going to have a similar take than I had with Oklahoma State and South Dakota State this weekend. The spread is 16. You're Florida State. You got one of the best rosters money can buy. Okay, had trouble with the quarterback situation, but you're favored by 16 at home versus Boston College, and Boston College has a good quarterback, but there's no way to shape this up any other way. You lost the first game. You've heard everybody's left you. They've lost faith in you. If you are your salt as a football team, you respond at home tonight and blow the doors off Boston College. If you don't cover tonight, it's now you have a legitimate, real long-term problem. They are, as a football team, they have to respond tonight. So if I'm betting this game, I think they do respond. I like Mike Norvell. I think they respond. I think they find a way to blow the doors off of Boston College tonight at home. And you're at home. They have to respond. If they don't respond, we got bigger issues.
If anybody sees this game on in my house and me near it, call the police. I'm being held against my will.
Should they call BetterHelp?
Yeah.
Or should they get life advice from Cole Walters?
They should get life advice. I don't think BetterHelp's this week.
Wrong week.
I'm not sure. In the event that it's betterhelp.com/MPW. That's betterhelp.com/MPW. Life advice, by the way, is always presented by Cole Walters, State Farm Insurance. Cole is licensed in auto, home, life, health, business, and pet insurance for the whole state of Georgia. Contact Cole at 706-525-7850. You can also find him at colewaltersinsurance.com.
Going back to Super Chats, and we're wrapping this bad boy up. Austin said, appreciate you, Austin Blance. He said, should Ole Miss fans be worried about the Last Dance slogan when it comes to Lane? No, I don't think it has anything to do with it. Denton, appreciate you. You answered the Denton one. Seth, Abilene Christian taking Texas Tech to overtime. They did. They had a chance, went for 2. I was watching that game on my phone when I was doing y'all's post game show. That was wild. I didn't see that one coming. Abilene Christian's good though. They are good for a FCS program, but not that good. Austin also said, paint me a scenario where Vandy gets 6 wins. I mean,
they've got 1. So
all right, let's go.
Alcorn's 2.
Alcorn's 2. I'm there.
At Georgia State would have to be in that scenario.
Yep,
that'd be 3. They get Missouri at home,
That's
Alabama at home.
Loss.
Kentucky in Lexington.
Loss.
Ball State would be 4.
Okay.
Texas at home.
4-4.
They go at Auburn, 4-5. South Carolina at home.
Win.
Open date.
Win.
And then that's 5. So to get to 6, they either got to win at LSU or Tennessee at home.
Or upset somebody like Auburn or
I don't
Kentucky.
think it's – so I think the scenario where you could get it done would be something like by the time you go to Auburn November the 2nd, the wheels are completely off the bus and there's problems. I'd say that's unlikely. You catch Kentucky off an open date. That's going to be tough. Listen, this is going to sound insane, and the odds of this are really slim. But in a world where LSU's season falls apart, LSU. So let's say LSU loses to Ole Miss in Baton Rouge, and then I'm right. and they go lose one of those 2 road games at Arkansas, at Texas A&M. Don't tell me neither of those are possible. Bullshit.
Well, you got to remember the Auburn game, too, because Jerry Kill was coach at New Mexico State when they gave Auburn fits last year.
Yeah.
So that's going to be, for me, that's the one where.
And then, but LSU's got an open date. Alabama, I mean, that thing could go off the rails in Baton Rouge, man. When you're playoffs or bust and suddenly you have 3 or 4 losses.
In November, right?
Yeah. All of a sudden, bust becomes a real thing.
I still don't think they get to 6. I think they can get to 5. I don't think they can get to 6. That's kind of my number there.
Yeah, but 5 and 7 would be a pretty good year for Clark.
That's all I got. That's all I got today.
All right, we'll wrap it there. Appreciate everybody being a part of us. We'll be back with you tomorrow. We're brought to you each and every show by Reign Total Body Fuel, 300 milligrams of natural caffeine, BCAAs, electrolytes, 0 sugar. It's got what you need to push the limits and achieve your goals. Check them out on Instagram at Reign Body Fuel to learn more. If you're a rebelgrove.com subscriber, I've got a lot of content coming your way. I'm sorry it's not up yet. There's only one of me, and there's only so many hours. I apologize.
Remind everybody that PTG Outdoors is a Caymas boats dealer. They have both fresh and saltwater boats. They sell and service Mercury outboards. They do custom marine electronic installations with Garmin, Humminbird, and Low Ranch products. You can get all your fishing needs and custom golf cart retrofits where they replace all of the batteries with a single lithium battery. They have locations in Grenada, Mississippi, and Northport, Alabama. Go to their online store and take care of them. Tell them that McCready and Siskey sent you. Go to their online store at ptgoutdoors.com.
Until tomorrow, take care.